Today we're going to be talking about women's place in the tech industry. When computers were first invented, it was often women you would find tediously writing code, which at the time meant punching holes into cards for the keyboardless, screenless machines to interpret. During this time, programming was too new to be considered high-class work. It was complicated and time-consuming and often was grouped with other activities of a similar nature, like knitting or cooking. It was considered women's work. While the profession may not exist as it does today without the input of women, their work was oftentimes left unaccredited for. As the need for technological solutions increased, so did the power held within these positions. As personal computers were introduced and the demand for more programmers increased, both were targeted for a male audience. Computers and video games were targeted at young boys, while girls were expected to play with Barbies instead. This meant that men were able to develop the skills necessary to get into computer science programs much more easily than women. Since it is primarily white men who end up in tech-based jobs, it means the designs that come out of these positions are biased in their favor. This perpetuates the cycle of gender-based inequality that already exists within the field. As a gender-based issue, this focuses on the binaries of male and female and neglects those who do not identify as either, and who deserve just as equally to be represented in the field. This needs to be taken into consideration when designing in this context.
When women are working in these tech-based jobs, they often still experience discrimination through subconscious bias, portrayed through stereotyping, lower pay, and lack of mutual respect. There is a lack of female representation in management positions and thus leads to a lack of mentors for women starting out in tech. The exclusion of women and non-binary people, as well as people of color in the building and creating space can have drastic effects on the lives of these parties through the designs they must interact with. For instance, women are 17% more likely to die from car accidents as male dummies are used as default for crash tests. Another less fatal yet still exclusionary example is that many soap dispensers do not properly detect darker skin tones. Not only are these technologies problematic because they have the potential to be dangerous, they also alienate groups. As we progress to an increasingly technology-reliant world, designers, developers, and programmers in the field need to be just as diverse as the audiences they are creating for. According to NPR, there has been an almost 40% decrease in the amount of women in the tech industry since its dawn. The number of women studying and graduating in computing science is also steadily decreasing and is expected to continue to drop in the next few decades. In fact, computer science has some of the highest gender disparities in universities. This further amplifies the stereotypes of coders portrayed today. According to research by Harvard Business Review, women are 45% more likely to quit their job than men within the first year in tech-related fields. This is an alarming figure and clearly points to a problem in the industry.
Organizations such as Girls Who Code and Girls in Tech are trying to combat the stereotypes and norms that push men into tech and push women away. These organizations provide opportunities for women to gain computer programming skills in a safe space. As the gender ratio between male and female programmers widen, young girls need access to the same hands-on experiences boys receive at a young age. In addition, businesses, especially the ones in tech, will have to continue to adopt practices to ensure that women are not being inflicted by subconscious bias. Research in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology has shown that female morale can be boosted by exposure to other highly successful females, especially when it comes to leadership tasks. This is one way companies can ensure their female employees are satisfied in the workplace by hiring more of them. The current solutions still perpetuate the othering of women in this field. Girls Who Code are labeled as such, Girls Who Code, making them appear like a special minority. The organizations providing solutions have ensured that these services have been catered to women. This is fine, but it further reiterates the idea that women programmers are different from men, who do that same thing, even if this may not be the case. It will pose a challenge to create equality within the tech field between men, women, and other groups without reinforcing the system and stereotypes which create inequality between genders. The solutions posed by the other organizations will be a good starting point. However, due to the decreasing rate of women in the tech industry, it is clear further action must be taken.